Welcome to Green Comfort, School of Herbal Medicine. We're covering first aid. It's nice to be prepared for whatever situation arises, whether you're home, on the road, or perhaps you have a business. So you want to have things available to you as needed, and I want to show you some of the things that I've collected, and I challenge my students of the Green Comfort School of Herbal Medicine Herbal Apothecary class to prepare their own first aid kit. So this is what I would like to see you provide and do a show and tell for me before graduation in June. So some of this is for the online class and some is for general population and information. And I'm going to show you what I have here that you too may want to have on hand. So first of all, in my place of business, I have a cart that's marked with a red cross that indicates these are things that anyone could go to, and it's by the bathroom. So these items have now been popped out, and I'm going to show you the things that are first case scenarios. This would be a tray of things that I've had available recently because of the coronavirus. We are social isolating, we are protecting ourselves and anyone that enters in our place of business. So I have a mask that I'm wearing if I'm making a formula for someone that's going out in the world. I also have the nitrile gloves that are available by the pack, and I use these even we'll take them and pump gas with that, or if I'm going to sign electronic signature. You can use them to touch people. If you're going to do any wound care, it's great to wear gloves. It's required to have them in the car in European countries, and I'd say have some gloves on hand for whatever emergencies. You don't want to touch blood, really. So some of the things that I've collected that I use quite often in my regular life is the 7th generation kills 99.99% disinfectant spray. And it's really Thymol. So this spray will kill viruses on the surface or bacteria. So I will spray the air if someone comes in and coughs, but I also will spray a room, spray door handles and things like that if I don't have an easy wiping situation. A good product. I like their hand wipes as well. A couple of years back we had a flu epidemic come around, and so I got the hand sanitizer at the time in the big jar with a little bit of aloe so that it didn't dry out my hand so badly, and this has lasted very well and is now really one of my main go-tos in this time of viruses spreading. Alcohol, again, to wipe down things, even my computer keyboard, I will wipe that. I know you're not supposed to wipe your telephone with alcohol. I do it. I wipe my telephone both sides with alcohol, and I have all kinds of alcohol swabs. So again, the face mask, it needs to be the 3 GM with the nose protecting that you can squeeze around your nostrils, and that's the most protective. You may want to have stocked up on some tissues if indeed it's cold and flu season, and have some extra water on hand. Particularly for me, driving in the car. I have a dog. She goes with me. I want to have some water. I don't want to stop and buy plastic. I will use my glass jug or have some on hand in each of my buildings if the electricity goes out to flush and so on. So that's an important piece when you live remotely, but also in the cities. All right, so I will show you different kits I have, and this is my home emergency kit. I have it in a tote. The tote stays in the upstairs bathroom. It says emergency supplies. It's marked. It's clear. You can see what's in it. And I really was grateful that I had the mask and the gloves in this home emergency kit during this outbreak. So flushable wipes, really important. Something to wipe your bum if there's no running water is very important, or hands. Nice to have, and they come in many different sizes and containers, but it might be a good idea to stock up. We lose electric here in Rappahannock County, and I have a set of candles, and they can be, you know, put in potted plants or various ways to use those. If you have candles, you need matches. And I put my matches in a plastic baggie so they don't have any moisture that reaches them and deteriorates them, and also a couple of nice lighters that you can light easily. I have storm information, where to contact and how to get through to our local electrical company or other first aid contact information. Some cheesecloth always comes in handy. So I just have some extra cheesecloth, some of the very thick black baggies, some rope if I needed to plastic windows. There's been a couple of scares in the past. These things were said to be very useful. And so I like to have a few things like this, like duct tape on hand. So that's home emergency supplies with, again, alcohol swabs and the travel size that you can pop into your first aid packages and carry in your purse if you like. And that's really handy to pick up when it's not an emergency and stock up. I have another smaller first aid kit that I often rely on for my own personal first aid needs through the day, the week, in the car, in traveling, and it's in this bag. And I really have enjoyed this bag from Frontier Herbal Cooperative years ago, and it's to me essential that one know that first aid is stored here if you're going to be sharing this, as I do when I'm camping with my friends. And so this is Herbal First Aid, all put in here, but I love that they took the time to include some wrapping and how to do so. And you would want to have some bandaging flex wrap with you for that kind of wrapping of bones and so on. Cosmetic bags are very handy. This one sits up and is one of my favorites. So I'm going to show you what I have in my bag. This little kit goes with me a lot of places, and I definitely have to refill every so often. I have things like, if you caught in the cold and the car stopped on the side of the road, you might get a little chilly, you might want these hand warmers, or again, out for a hike. I do take samples, and I keep samples on occasion. The Maca Boost, the Reishi, those would give you energy, vitality, a little mobility, and bring you back if you're tired. Wet ones, always, in every first aid situation, something to wash your hands with. I even have a couple of black tea bags because I find they're great for eye poulticing. And if there's inflamed eyes in particular, or if you just want to flush, you can use a tea bag. So I love to have some big gauze pads, and of course with that you need something sticky to stick it to the around the wound with. Sometimes you just need extra padding though if there is a bleed. And this is a large Band-Aid, so it does have the bandage adhesive around it. These little first aid kits are found locally at drugstores, and I have equipped mine with a couple of capsules of Benadryl. Benadryl will reduce inflammation, the histamine response to a bug bite, a bee sting, an allergic reaction, hives, and those kind of things. And it can really be life-saving. So I know I broke them up, but it does say on the package what it is, and that's an important thing. Again, matches, and a first aid sewing kit. Not that I'm fond of stitching wounds, but could be helpful even if it's a strap that breaks. So again, a little needle, some thread, a lighter, tweezers. Tweezers in particular for ticks, but also to pull out splinters, which you'd want to wipe and swab with some alcohol when you pull out a splinter. So again, samples of wonderful things that could come in real handy. I love essential oils for basically their antimicrobial usage. They help us form a barrier so that other things won't come into our respiratory systems. And so we can actually make an inhalation by using a few drops in our hands. They will help sanitize our hands, clean our hands. And I tend to use lavender tea tree for, again, cleaning surfaces. You can put it on wounds. You can use lavender on a burn. So these two in particular go in my first aid. And lavender, of course, would be good. You can put lavender, we call it neat, directly on the skin. It really should just drop one drop. I got two. You could put it directly on the temples for a stress headache. You could put it on the abdomen and on the legs for cramping. And, of course, in the time of influenza, on the nostrils, because you're inhaling the essential fatty, the essential oils are in these globules, and they adhere to the olfactory system. So I feel more protected with my essential oils. So lavender and tea tree go with me even into the grocery store. I inoculate myself. Okay, so we have some things to clean wounds. Just a small amount of the rubbing alcohol is helpful. Some hand sanitizer that is helpful, travel size. We have some Bayer aspirin, which is the 80 milligrams people use for heart attacks. Unfortunately, there's been a heart attack victim that came to the property seeking help, and it was an emergency situation, and the first aid responder was not allowed to give him anything. I offered him Bayer aspirin to put under his tongue. And then you can't give water, so that was a little bit difficult. But I would say at first signs of heart attack, taking aspirin can be very helpful as a blood thinner. Eye drops to flush. Arnica to aid bruising. Any injury where there's been a trauma to the body. Maybe it's actually you witnessed a car accident, or perhaps you were in one and you hit the side or the steering wheel, and you can use arnica neat. We love it for our children when they're learning to walk, falling, bumps and bruises, those kind of things. So put it directly on the body. It's arnica homeopathic gel. You can see mine's well used. It's one of my favorites. Another favorite from having had a child was Walida's calendula cream. And this has been a standard now in my pack for a very long time because I find it so helpful to help with chapped skin and real deep skin irritation where there's redness or swelling perhaps, but that redness and irritation. Walida calendula hand cream would be excellent. I usually take some kind of ibuprofen. This is an Advil, and that's really helpful just to get people out of inflammatory process. You want to knock back the inflammatory process, I like to have it available. Again, just to flush wounds, maybe some hydrogen peroxide, and I have the arnica and apis in a homeopathic remedy. And these are really important. Tablets to put right under the tongue, let them dissolve. So in homeopathy, you don't touch the medicine. You actually want to put the tablets in the cap and take it under your tongue, let them dissolve. They're typically made out of a cornstarch, but they've been potentized and inoculated into that cornstarch and then pressed into a pill. So you just don't want to add your own energy in. But on witnessing an accident or having an injury, the arnica is excellent to kind of stop that perfusion, to slow down the bruising and repair the tissue. And apis could get you out of that bee inflammatory state. If you're allergic to bees in particular, find out if you can take apis, and you may want to experiment yourself. I can't tell you that it's right for you if you actually have a bee inflammatory response, as in an allergy, because that can be quite detrimental. But I will say that this has helped many people, and that's why I keep it on hand. Okay, sometimes throat lozenges are helpful. Again, when there's a sore throat with a cough, the secrets came for a field trip. They were really helpful with young people that would recognize that candy red and didn't mind. And it actually numbs the throat. So again, it's not for everybody, but you can see I have a mixture of what can be store-bought, and you may find your own favorites. I definitely carry some Halls. I have Ricola. There's lots of variety of throat lozenges that I like to have around, because the throat is an entry point, and when you have a sore throat, it's an indicator, and your immune responses are then being triggered, being stimulated, and you want to fight that sore throat. So what better way than to actually do some oral medication and have that numbing, soothing property from any kind of mentholated or otherwise some kind of lozenges. So this little pack goes in this little bag, and this is very, very handy. So it comes out and goes in other packages as well. So in this little overkill on the size, but the hydrogen peroxide, I actually do use this on surfaces, and I will use it to spray if something comes in with mold or mildew on it as well. So hydrogen peroxide, much like bleach, will take color out. So do be careful in the use, and really figure out how you want to use your hydrogen peroxide if you're using it for first aid. So I'm going to leave that for you to research and discuss it with your family. Alcohol is one thing, and rubbing alcohol, of course, isopropyl, 91% if you can get it. The highest amount would be the best to have. Will kill most bacteria and germs living on surfaces. Okay. I do carry a bee kit. So the bee kit has come in handy here at Green Comfort several times. It's a bite and sting kit, and I have used a tip to pull venom out. And it's very interesting. The directions are in it, and I suggest ordering one and then becoming proficient in the extractor. It takes a little bit of doing, but not difficult, and you want to have it when you need it. So for a poisonous snake bite, you no longer cut the wound. Sometimes it's not recommended that you're extracting out. Again, read the information and you decide. I have had the opportunity to extract bee venom, and I've never used it for a snake bite, but we definitely have poisonous rattlesnakes around here. So you really have to put the right tip on, and then as you're pushing in, it's sucking out. So that's how you're going to extract. It has the razor, the alcohol swabs, everything you might need to make this work for you at the place in which you need it. So you have to have it handy. Again, if I'm hiking, it's going in the backpack. So have it handy. Scissors are helpful if you're going to cut the bandage material, and could go in any number of packs, and maybe have a wide variety of sizes. I like little scissors that are sharp. So actually, often, if I'm using them at home, I'll just make it available, make it handy. But again, a wide variety of sizes so that they're there when you need them. And the last thing, but not the least, is a kit that I received from Herb Farm years ago. Thank you, Herb Farm. And it had a place with different tinctures in it, and I have since filled it with my own. And this goes with me when I'm traveling because of different issues that I want to have some herbs for. And this is going to change for each and every one of us. My conditions and issues include sleep. So I typically have a skullcap or some sort of sleep blend. It could be skullcap passion flower, but something to really help take the nerves away, quiet my mind, rest my body, and that really works for me. I also have passion flower. So passion flower and skullcap are often mixed together, and they're both delicious, and you can see my restfulness is very important. And I have golden seal root. Now, I'm in the mountains of Virginia. I have golden seal patch, and I harvest ethically a small portion and make a little tincture, and it's enough to get me through the winter for myself and my clients every year. So I'm very, very grateful to this plant. I do not over harvest, and I do not sell. I'm not a commercial retail outlet. So for me, it's important to honor the plant and where it has been grown. But use it because it's important. And having acute cardiac care, especially after the heart attack victim. My clinic came up with that, and I won't give you that recipe right here, but I'll be glad to, in a handout, share that with you. I have a digestive aid bitters, and again, it could be different for every one of us, every person on the planet. We could change it up so many different ways, and there's a lot of information on how to make your own bitters right now. So my bitters are for me, but I'll be glad, again, in a handout to share that information. And I have something uplifting and a bit of a anti-anxiety remedy, if you will. But I like to really focus on the positive, so I'm calling it uplifting. And I've definitely included some Damiana in here. So you can find that recipe in the handout that's going to follow this film. And so tinctures, to me, are very important. Alcohol extracts, something I rely on, may not be in everyone's first aid kit.